What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. What's going on? Today is James Bond's 70th birthday, as Casino Royale was first published on the 13th of April, 1953. How about that? I had no idea. Thank you for that, Keith. Pure coincidence. What's going on? Let me bring that one over here. Patty Irishman, could you give a shout out, please? R.I.P. to Craig Breen, Ireland's world rally driver. He passed away a few hours ago in a crash. That's not good news. Rest in peace, Craig Breen. World rally driver. I'm not sure what that is. That's sad. Must be dangerous. Hello, everyone. What is in the blue drink? Gatorade. Gatorade was invented right here in the great state of Florida. Thank you, Julian. Yeah, I recently watched Hot Fuzz with the Queen, and that reaction probably won't be on YouTube for a while. It's on Patreon now, but in the middle of watching it, I noticed that Timothy Dalton was in there, and we started like there was like a short 2-minute moment in there where we started talking about James Bond. So I figured, why not? Let's put that in the title and see what kind of conversation it generates. Do you still have your little dog? Yes, I do, Joker. How is it with the new dog? Well, she hates Jane. But Nora, she hates all other dogs. But whenever I take them to the dog park, whenever somebody starts messing with Jane, Nora starts attacking the culprit. So she hates Jane, but she's also very protective of Jane. So it's kind of weird. Dennis, can you give a shout out to Big Ang or Ange and the demolishing the zombies that he is doing? Hail, hail! Shout out to Big Ange. I don't know what the demolishing the zombies thing is, but Daniel Craig David. I actually tried to do a Bo Selector reaction the other day. I got like 8 minutes into it, and then the episode like stopped on the video I was watching. It was weird because the video said it was like 25 minutes long, and then at 8 minutes it just stopped, and the rest of it was just recorded. I guess they recorded a black screen, so I scrapped it. And I tried to find episode 3 on YouTube, but I couldn't. So I did see Craig David in there for a short period. Anyone who suggests George Lazenby will be barred from the chat. Ha! Oh, that's funny. You know, the George Lazenby film he did on Her Majesty's Secret Service. A lot of people think that's one of the best Bond films ever made. I don't know, man. I thought it was. I mean, it's definitely different, but I wouldn't go with one of the best Bond films ever made. Although the guy that played Blofeld in that, I thought was fantastic. I thought it was the best version of Blofeld. Of all that, there's like 5 or 6 different versions of Blofeld. Why doesn't James Bond fart in bed? Because it would blow his cover. What do you call James Bond having a bath? Bubble 07. Thank you, Ute. Any plans to watch more Lee Evans? I have plans to watch a lot of things. I just, when I have time, I do what I can. Yeah, I was really busy the last 2 days, which is why I haven't put anything up on YouTube or Patreon. I got called into work twice, and all morning and all afternoon I was doing personal stuff, which pertains to the dog behind me and the baby that's on the way. So that's why I always say I do what I can when I can. Joker Danny, a great sitcom you should check out is Still Game. I don't know how many times I have to say that I did not enjoy Still Game. I get suggested that every live stream, and every live stream I say it again. I tried to do reactions to 3 different Still Games, and I just sat here with a stone face because I didn't think it was funny. Joss, how you doing? How's it going, Joss? I always get suggestions for Still Game and Mickey Flanagan, two things that get suggested all the time, and I still, to this day, say I just don't. Now, it's not to say they aren't funny. It's just it's not. It's personal preference. I didn't find it that funny. Hardy as the Cray twins, yes. Fantastic movie. I'm a big Tom Hardy fan. Don't adjust and don't spoil season 3 for me, man. Ah, so Adam thinks Timothy Dalton is the best Bond, 100%. That's what I was talking about when we watched Hot Fuzz. I just didn't like his movies, man. You know what Timothy Dalton feels like to me? It's kind of similar to, like, with Spider-Man. When Andrew Garfield played Spider-Man, I think Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man, but his movies were terrible. I just think he suffered from being in the terrible Spider-Man films, and I think it's similar to Timothy Dalton. I didn't like Timothy Dalton's James Bond films, but I'm not going to say that Timothy Dalton wasn't a bad James Bond. I just think he suffered from being in the bad ones. That's my opinion. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the darkness until I was already a man. Sean Connery. Andrew Garfield was great in Dunkirk. He was in Dunkirk? Really? I didn't notice him in Dunkirk. I don't think he was in there. Ian Staines, the fight on top of the satellite in Goldeneye is my favorite Bond moment. That was a good, yeah. Goldeneye is probably my favorite Bond film of all time. Hands down. Goldeneye was fantastic. Sean Connery was the best. It's hard to argue with that because he was the OG, and he made the character what it was. I get that. Adam says I get that Roger Moore is definitely last. He was too nice. Eh. I like Roger Moore. I really like Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun. When is the Hot Fuzz reaction? Probably not for a while on YouTube. I still got 6 other movie reactions that I have to edit and put on YouTube. So, but the Hot Fuzz reaction is on Patreon at the moment. Do you think any... Glenn, that's a great comment. And a great question. Do you think any of the James Bonds suffered from erectile dysfunction once they got over 50? I don't think Sean Connery did. I think even when Sean Connery was 60 years old, he had no cum in his body. And, because he was always having sex nonstop. Joss says Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond. So that's why I think Daniel Craig is the best. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Because Daniel Craig had some bad movies, like Quantum of Solace and The Last No Time to Die. I didn't like it all. But I think he's the best, and this is why. Because I actually believe that Daniel Craig, when he plays James Bond, I actually believe that he's killing people. And he's... like, he will murder somebody at the drop of a hat if he has to. Daniel Craig, when he plays James Bond, he actually scares me at times. So, that's why I think Daniel Craig is the best. Nothing against Sean Connery. I know a lot of people put him at the top, but I actually believe Daniel Craig is killing people on screen. Skyfall was really good. Skyfall is amazing. What's in the paper bag behind you? Nothing. Here, if you don't believe me, I'll show you. Nothing. Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan. You like Quantum of Solace? I mean, it's better than... what's that terrible Pierce Brosnan one? Die Another Day. It's way better than Die Another Day. Die Another Day is my least favorite Bond film of all time. Even though Pierce Brosnan is my favorite James Bond. Although I'm biased towards Pierce Brosnan because he was James Bond when I was growing up. So... I love Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan is like the one James Bond where, like, you feel like, except for Die Another Day, all those James Bond films, you feel like he's having a great time. It makes you want to be James Bond. Kind of like, he had that Sean Connery thing where it looks like they're having fun and they really enjoy playing the role. And Pierce Brosnan was just so fucking cool. Josh says Pierce Brosnan Bond films were really goofy. They were, but like they were the best action-packed James Bond films, I think. Jammin' 10 says, in my opinion, best movie, The Spy Who Loved Me. A lot of people like that one. I thought it was alright. Bill Burr for Bond. Wow. Nothing like having James Bond with a Boston accent. Daniel Craig got more cuts and bruises than any of the others. Yeah. Well, I think he was the one who did the most. He did the most stunts. Like, you know, he was the Bond who gave his stunt double the least amount of time because he wanted to be in all the shots himself to make it look more real. So. Fraser Turner, will you be doing any more Man Down reactions? Yes. I've got one that I have to upload, so I don't know when it's going to be up. Probably in the next few days, so there's one coming. Straighten your pillows, young man. No, you straighten your pillows, Lee. They were straight until the dog tried to eat one. Lost Lens, did you guys watch Hot Fuzz? Yes, we did. I don't know when it's going to be up on YouTube, but it's on Patreon right now. The nude Bond is not going to be male? Oh, God. Carl Pilkington should be the next Bond. He greets everyone with a, all right? Too many gadgets post-Connery. They sorted it out when Daniel Craig took the role. Yeah, when... Actually, Mark, that's a good point. When the newer... Especially with Brosnan, even though Brosnan's my favorite Bond. Like, his Bond films, the gadgets just got so ridiculous. Especially in Die Another Day, man. I hate Die Another Day. That's... I wish that film never happened. Worst movie, worst Bond song. Just everything about it's terrible. And they had a fucking invisible car. Like, is this James Bond or Star Wars? But when Daniel Craig... And when Daniel Craig took over the role, the people who were in charge of making that, I guess they knew that the gadgets were getting out of control, so they made him, like... made the gadgets very straightforward and kind of primitive, which I liked. I like that move. So I agree, Mark. Who would be your person to play James Bond? Mine would be James Corden. Says Just Incredible. My God. A lot of people over there hate James Corden. I found out from that last live stream. There was so much hate for James Corden. I don't know why. But I've barely seen him at all. I just know he has that one talk show. Or if he still has that talk show, I have no idea. I don't know who I would cast as James Bond right now. Mark says Tom Hardy or Idris Elba. Idris Elba's too old at this point. If it was like 10, 15 years ago, Idris Elba would have been great. Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy could do a good job. I just think he's like a little too famous for the role right now. Harry Nelson says no new Bonds, and that's coming from a Bond fan. Yeah, I think they should just sit on it for what, like, not come out with a Bond film for a few years. I agree. Bear Grylls. Richard says James Corden would make a good corpse. If Joss is still here, by the way, Joss, I'm going to start streaming on Twitch again on Monday. I've taken 2 weeks off from Twitch just because I've been so busy. But starting Monday, I'll start streaming on Twitch again. Julian Collins says no one could play him now though because he blew up. Yeah, that was a different route to go with James Bond. They actually killed him this time. Spoilers, sorry. God, I hated No Time to Die. The only thing I liked about No Time to Die was the music. The score was pretty good. Kit Harington? I don't know, man. He's too small, Kit Harington. Like, Daniel Craig is, like, probably the shortest Bond they ever had. And Kit Harington is way smaller than Daniel Craig. So, I don't know. Twitch is making you twitchy. Well, it probably would if I did Twitch more often. Henry Cavill, yeah. Maybe Henry Cavill. I've seen his name thrown out a lot. No Time to Die was shite. I agree. I really didn't like that one. The intro the opening sequence, like in that Italian town with the car and everything, that was pretty cool. But other than that, the rest of it sucked. James Storr says Dylan Mulvaney. Oh my god. People here are for like flipping the fuck out over that Bud Light stuff. Apparently Bud Light has lost like $5 billion in revenue because of that whole shit. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. But, yeah, it's like the talk of the country right now over here. Everybody's boycotting Bud Light. Which, you know, I don't know what I would do because I haven't been drinking lately, so. Tyson Fury for James Bond. Wow. I'm not gonna, even though that would be ridiculous, that would scare the shit out of me. Johnny Vegas for the next Bond, really? Boomer for Bond? Nah. I don't think an American should play James Bond, even if he's good at it. Peter Dinklage? Nah. Sean Connery is the best Bond, 100%, no question. It's hard to argue, but I think Daniel Craig's the best. Eddie Izzard. Your dog is cute. What's its name? It's Jane. She's sleeping. I'll have a gin, pink, not normal. Tom Hiddleston? Interesting. I don't know. That's an interesting one. I think maybe you could pull it off. There's a wait. What does that say? There's a ghost or some sort of apparition floating across the top of your screen. Oh, that's the ceiling fan spinning slowly. That's the shadow of the ceiling fan. Why Greece and not the UK? Oh, we had planned that. We had planned that trip before we even started the channel, my dude. That's why we planned that trip like a year in advance. And I had always wanted to go to Greece, so. Hey, Boomer, just to clarify, Roger Moore was the best James Bond. Okay. I like Roger Moore. Some people think Roger Moore's was not very good Bond. I liked Roger Moore. I pretty much liked all of them. I didn't care for George Lazenby, that one film that he did. That was the only Bond that I can really say like I didn't really care for. Timothy Dalton, I didn't like his movies. I just think I think he would have done better if he had better movies to work with. Are you scared to come to the UK? No, I'm not. I just can't now with a baby on the way. Otherwise, we probably would have planned a trip there and been there either like this summer or in the fall sometime. George Lazenby, George Lazenby's ears were too big. Says Animal House. Yeah, I didn't like his ears either. But you can't do anything about that unless you get surgery. I don't know. Moore was the Josh says Moore was the best Bond when I was born. Moore was the Bond when I was born. Yeah, when I was born it was Dalton, but I wasn't old enough to remember those movies. I had to go back and watch them. But I remember sitting like my dad, because my dad is a huge James Bond fan, and when Goldeneye came out, he took me to see it in the theater, and I was like, remember walking out of there, even as like a young kid, I was like, that's the coolest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. Thank you, Tamorik. Thank you, Lee. Michael Halliburton. Roger and Pierce are classic gentlemen. Daniel is the muzzles. And Sean had it all. It's hard to argue with that. It's a good point. A good comment, Michael. Pierce Brosnan was just so fucking cool. Definitely my favorite. Charlie Hunnam as Bond. I don't know. As much as I like him, I don't know. The Book of Dark. Will the Bond franchise ever end? And should it? I don't think it should. Uh, will it ever end? I don't know. The only way it's going to end is if it stops making money. Which I think the only Bond films that really like did not do really well were the Timothy Dalton ones in terms of making money. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I've always thought when I used to look that stuff up years back. Chatio, what's going on, man? Ozzy Osbourne as Bond? Ugh. I don't know about that one. Philip Hind, excuse me, going through puberty again. Philip Hind says it makes too much money to end. Exactly. If something's making money, they're never going to end it. GMD Hargreaves says, how did you bag the queen? I didn't. She bagged me. Oh, Marja. Thank you so much for the super sticker with the victory. Should I do the Nixon one or the Churchill one? Thank you so much. Wow. I wonder if that'll pop up in the alert box. Book of Dark, Die Another Day song, most catchy Bond song I have ever heard. I hate that song, dude. Worst Bond movie, worst song, worst gadgets, worst everything. Die Another Day is the worst Bond film ever made. They just went ridiculous. Ever seen True Lies with Schwarzenegger? Yeah. See, there it is. Thank you very much, Marja. You're so awesome. Marja's been very nice to the channel the last couple weeks. So shout out to Marja. That's the one where the laser is heading towards Bond's Jaffas. No, that's Goldfinger. But in there are lasers in Die Another Day, but they're like multiple lasers going in all directions. What Bond game you streaming? I'm not streaming any Bond games right now. Maybe I'll do another GoldenEye stream, but I'll probably do that on Twitch. I've been doing gaming streams on Twitch because whenever I do them on here, it's not a lot of people seem to show up, so I've moved them to Twitch for people who like gaming stuff. King Boomer for James Bond? Absolutely not. You can't have an American James Bond, and that's coming from an American. At least that's my opinion. Even if they do a good job. Can't do it. I don't mind when Brits or Australians or any other English-speaking actors that are not from the United States play American characters, but with James Bond, it's a whole new day because he's such a British icon. I don't think you should have anyone other than a Brit playing James Bond. Although Pierce Brosnan is technically Irish, even though I think he moved to the UK at a very young age, so he lost his accent really early. So I don't know if that counts as a non-British James Bond, but. Andy Whitfield says, King Boomer, you could laugh the villains to death. Could I? Yuletide Family says, there's been 2 British Spider-Men at this point. An American James Bond is due. Yeah, like, I don't mind Andrew Garfield or What's the guy that plays him now? I forget his name, but he does a great job as Spider-Man. I don't mind when them playing James Bond. I think I mean Spider-Man. I think they're great. Two Brit Batmans also, yes. And I think the two Brits that played Batman were the best versions of Batman. So they're vastly different, though. I think Christian Bale was definitely the best version of Bruce Wayne. And then Robert Pattinson played an excellent Batman. I thought he was great as Batman. I thought he was a terrible Bruce Wayne, though. Because Batman's different. You have to have that dynamic where you have to play both, pretty much both characters. So it's a little different. Tom Holland, yes. Tom Holland is the one who plays Spider-Man now, and I think he does a fantastic job. David G says, remember going to see Dr. No at the cinema, 8 years old, so growing up with all of them. Yeah. There's a part of me that's jealous of you, David, because you got to catch all that like right when it was coming out. I don't know, like a lot of people here in the States say Michael Keaton is the best Batman. I never really... I wasn't a big fan of Michael Keaton as Batman, but because he's the OG, like kind of like Sean Connery was with James Bond, like people worship Michael Keaton as Batman. I was not that big of a fan. I think the most underrated Batman is Val Kilmer, actually, even though he was in a goofy Batman movie. But Val Kilmer, if Val Kilmer had like a legit shot at being in a good Batman film, he would have been fantastic. And he was good as in the, what was it, Batman Forever? Why do British people play the lead bad guys in a lot of American films? Because they're good at it. Coaster King 205 says, I thought the new Batman was pretty bad, to be honest. Okay. I thought it was great. Not as good as the Christopher Nolan films, but I thought the new Batman was great. I actually went... You know, I think it's great when I go back to watch a movie in the theater more than once. I saw it twice in the theater.
Band of Brothers Boomer. Love to see you react. Great Britain, USA.
Thank you, Real Cookie Cook. Thank you for the super chat. Band of Brothers, I've seen it. I think I'm in the minority on this one. I really look... Because there was 2 series on HBO. I think probably Sky for you guys. But there was Band of Brothers. And then there was The Pacific. I like The Pacific better than Band of Brothers. I just thought the acting was much more convincing in The Pacific. I don't know. I think I'm in a minority opinion on that one. Val Kilmer was brilliant in The Doors, yes. Val Kilmer's amazing. Sucks what happened to him. You guys know he can't talk now. He had throat cancer and basically had his throat taken out. So sad. Have you seen Braveheart? Yes. I like Braveheart, the movie. I know it's extremely historically inaccurate. But if you just take it as just a story, I think it's great. Jack Barnes says, I watched the new Batman, but I was drunk and can't remember any of it. I love the new Batman. Man, Colin Farrell as the Penguin. That he was fantastic. Andrew Garfield was in Hacksaw Ridge, not Dunkirk. Yeah, somebody said in a comment earlier that Andrew Garfield was in Dunkirk. I've seen that Dunkirk like 3 or 4 times. I don't remember seeing Andrew Garfield anywhere in that. Have you seen the documentary about Val Kilmer called Val? No, but I want to see it. I've been planning to watch it. I just haven't got around to it. I've seen the trailer for it, and yeah. And I think his son mostly does the voice for him in terms of narrating and stuff, which is really cool. Pal Jack, hi Boomer. I was unsubbed for some reason, so I've had to resub. I'm currently watching your In-Betweeners vids. How do I get a cute girlfriend like Queen? She is always giggling at your jokes. Just be yourself. That's why me and Queen Boomer work so well as a couple, because we're both extremely goofy, and if we had not been ourselves around each other, it wouldn't have worked out. Val Kilmer married a childhood friend of mine. Really? Wow.
Hi King Boomer, glad you got around to watching Hot Fuzz.
Thank you, Stuart Thomas. Yeah, Hot Fuzz, it's not going to be on YouTube for a while. Movie reactions take so long to edit, but the Hot Fuzz reaction is currently on Patreon. So, Jumbo Jimbo, what up? Gordy Daz, the new Batman was brilliant. Went from a good movie to a brilliant one the second time I watched it. I think I agree with you on that. I had just as much fun watching it the second time as the first time. 007 was female at the beginning of the last film. Yeah, it wasn't James Bond, though. Either that was, I think that was a troll move by the writers, just to pretend to piss people off about that kind of thing. Joss, you have a great day. It was good to see you again. Should stop by more often on the live streams on here. Miss you. Be your very authentic self, Margie. Yes. Even if you're weird and goofy. I mean, if you be yourself, then eventually somebody's, going to take notice of you. Jamie Bond. James Buckley is James Bond. That would be hilarious. Ian says they're making a Penguin TV show. Yeah, I don't know. As much as I loved Colin Farrell as the Penguin, I don't know if that's a good idea. But they are making it, so we'll see. What are some plans you have for your channel, says Socrates. Well, in the next week or two, I probably won't be posting too much on the YouTube channel, actually. Because I have 6 movie reactions that I have to get edited and put on YouTube, and each movie reaction takes anywhere from like 4 to 8 hours to edit a piece, just to get them up on YouTube. So there's gonna probably not, maybe not this week, but next week I'm just gonna take the entire week just to focus on editing those, because Plus, the file sizes are so big, it's taking up a lot of storage space on my computer, so I got to get those done. What time is it over here? It is currently 1:48. Animal House has Patreon sub. I appreciate the low sub prices, Boomer. Some reaction channels have some ridiculous sub prices. That's hilarious, because you know what happened when I first dropped the Patreon? People were complaining that the prices were astronomical. So thank you, Animal House.
I'm a Patreon, worth its weight in gold. P.S. Plunge.
Thank you, Yuletide. Appreciate that. So yeah, the only times I ever get positive feedback on the Patreon are when I do these live streams on YouTube. It's kind of funny. Whenever anything's mentioned about Patreon elsewhere, it's like I get comments like, "You fucking scumbag, trying to take all our money." Like, you know, it's $3 or pounds. I think it's basically the same. $3 for all the episode reactions. You get them early on there. They're uncut. There's nothing taken out of them. And there's nothing censored if I have to censor something, like somebody smoking a cigarette. And then it's $5 for all the episode reactions plus the movie reactions. So, yeah, I tried to make it like cheap, so a lot of people could sign up for it if they wanted to. But when it came out, I got viciously attacked. I got called a scumbag and a piece of shit and all the above. I don't know. But I appreciate that some people really, when I do these live streams on YouTube, really seem to like the Patreon. Have you watched Gotham? I actually tried to watch Gotham, like the first few episodes. I didn't like it. It was a good concept. I just didn't like the show. Joshua Causer says, I love Dwayne, but I'd be pissed if he was cast as Bond. I would too. I would be livid. And I'm a huge Rock fan. I love The Rock. You guys know that because I've dressed up as The Rock. But I'd be pissed too. I don't want Dwayne Johnson to ever play James Bond. Now, could he? I don't even want him to play a James Bond villain. I think he would be like a great side villain because he's so big. Like, you know how like Batista played that silent villain, like I think his name was Mr. Hanks or something like that. Or like, you know, Odd Job is the side villain who doesn't say anything, but they're physically menacing. You know, as a side villain, I think he could work. But The Rock would never accept that because he's such a big star, so. Are you up for bartering on the $3? What does that mean? Like, negotiating a lower price? I actually had somebody go on to just message me personally on Patreon, ask me to lower the prices. Couldn't believe it. I was like, you want me to change the prices just for you? Idris Elba, I agree he would be a good Bond, but I think the time has passed because he's too old now. Isn't he like 50 now or something like that? Idris Elba, like 10 or 15 years ago, he would have been amazing as James Bond. I agree. But I think that ship has sailed. Do some Borat. I've seen Borat. Everybody here in the States has seen Borat. If they haven't, they're lying to you. Even if they do a reaction video to Borat, they're lying to you because everybody saw Borat. For like 3 or 4 years, everybody was walking around in the States going up to each other going, very nice, I like. So if they tell you they haven't seen it, they're lying.
I smoked 20 during Hot Fuzz as an FU to YouTube.
Nice. Thank you, Yuletide. Thank you for the super chat. Animal House. Yeah. Idris Elba would have been great, but it's too late now. Tiger says he doesn't think Idris Elba would be a good Bond. I think the only way to find out is to see it, you know? Marja says you will get haters, keep calm and carry on. Exactly, yeah. Henry Cavill is the next Bond. I've seen his name tossed around a lot. I don't know, man. Like, I think he would do a good job. I just think he's like... I think there comes a point when certain actors get, like, too famous. So, like, Henry Cavill and Tom Hardy and Idris Elba, like, they will... I just think they're too famous at this point. But I think all three would do a good job. Aaron Taylor Johnson would be good as Bond. I've heard that name tossed around, but I can't remember. Wasn't he like in a... Didn't he play like Quicksilver in like one of the Avengers movies or something? I can't remember. Cillian Murphy. I'm so glad he's getting a lead role in Oppenheimer. I can't wait to see that movie. Aaron Taylor Johnson in Bullet Train. I haven't seen Bullet Train yet. Maybe I'll watch that as a reaction. I've actually had a couple people request that as a reaction movie, so maybe I'll do that one. Tarantino should direct the Bond movies. As much as I love Tarantino, no. No. I don't. Tarantino would never do it anyway. Tom Jones is a Welsh Bond. David Beckham. Doesn't David Beckham have like a squeaky voice? I remember like years ago I saw him do like an interview or something and he sounded like he had a real like high pitched voice. Thomas Taylor, I think people can constructively criticize. I will not pay for reactions. It is morally wrong.
Jay here. I've mentioned many girls don't listen to Will.
Thank you, Giraffe. Patreon is an extortion racket. People on Patreon are con artists. So I'm a con artist. Okay. I got called that when I first started it. But, you know, the only reason I have it is because there were so many reactions that I couldn't put up on YouTube, so... And then some people said, we'll put it up on Daily Motion. Well, Daily Motion has the same restrictions as YouTube, so can't do that either. Christopher Nolan wants to direct a Bond. I'd like that. I think Christopher Nolan would do a good job. I think Jamie Dornan would make a... Who's Jamie Dornan? Or Doman? I can't read that. Dornan. Okay. I remember Spielberg wanted to direct Bond, but was turned down. So he went and made Indiana Jones. That's right, yeah. They wouldn't let him make a James Bond, so George Lucas came and said, I got something better than James Bond. And they made Indiana Jones together. Although, as much as I like Indiana Jones, I don't love Indiana Jones. I like him. But, you know, Jones is here, Bond is up here. Bond is way better. Ian Stain says, I pay for the Patreon and I don't feel like I've been exploited. Money well spent. Okay, thank you, Ian. Queen Boomer would be outstanding as a Bond girl, says Chris Thompson. I think she would be, too. She'd definitely be the goofiest Bond girl of all time. Tonka says, is that the bed you made a baby in? Oh, dear Lord. Bourne is the best U.S. version of Bond, in my opinion. I like the first couple Jason Bourne movies. It's a good concept. I don't know. It's like, you know, it's similar to James Bond, but it's not, because it would be like if James Bond was being hunted down by MI6 and he was trying to get his revenge against him. What's the doggo's name? Jane. Jane is the doggo's name. Congrats. Thank you. Thank you, Barry. Boomer, have you seen Queen Elizabeth skydive with Craig David? I mean, Daniel Craig. Craig David. Yes, I did see that. I think of all the Olympics that happened in the last 20 years, I think the Olympics in London was the one I watched the most, actually. And I remember watching that opening ceremony. So yeah, I watched that when it first happened. And is your other dog still doing okay? Yeah, she's fine. She's just really, she does her own thing. She's really self-reliant. This dog I got to keep an eye on almost at all times. So Nora just wanders around the house, and if she wants attention or food or to be let outside, she lets me know. Celtic says she didn't skydive. I know that. Come on. Obviously not, yeah. We all know that. We should, Totem King, they should do a big crossover and have all the James Bond actors meet each other, at least the ones who are still alive. Kind of like what they did with that last Spider-Man movie. I don't know, man. That'd be going into like the science fiction kind of world of James Bond. I don't know. Your dog's having a dream. She's twitching. Yeah, she has dreams all the time. I think in one of my last live streams, I had to wake her up because she was dreaming hard. Like she was like crying in her dream. My friend's dog can crap the alphabet. The Book of Dark. Are you a cat or a dog person? I'm both, but we can't have cats because Queen Boomer's allergic, so I'd love to have cats. I just I can't do it now. Get some WD-40 for the chair? Nah. It's not nearly as bad as the old chair. Remember the old chair? Jack Barnes says, of course, the Queen skydived. She was hardcore. Sean Connery is clearly the James Bond, says Celtic, but Pierce Brosnan is also good. Brosnan was my favorite. But if you say Sean Connery was the best, it's hard to argue with that. Barry says, I'm a fish man. We are too. We got multiple fish tanks in the house. Andrew Dale says, Connery, the best. Without a doubt. The rest are Muppets. Keith says the first production of James Bond was an American TV adaptation of Casino Royale. Yeah, I've heard about that. Didn't they make a Casino Royale movie that was like a spoof or a comedy version? I never watched it, but I think they did. Oh, Barry says I'm half fishman. Okay. Ian says, actually, the first production of Casino Royale was a radio show. Really? Okay. Oh, for the people who've been complimenting the Patreon, there's going to be 2 Patreon exclusive reactions up tomorrow. Probably Only Fools and Horses and Red Dwarf. Because I can't get those on YouTube. Peter, I always butcher this guy's name. Peter Sarah Finowicz for a Bond villain. Actually, I think you're on to something, Josh. Neil says, are you excited for CS2? Yeah. It'll be good to, like, I mean, it's going to be the same game, essentially, but updated graphics, little different mechanics. It'll be a nice change. And maybe it'll allow me to play a little better also, because everybody will be starting from scratch. I don't know when it's supposed to come out, but I'm excited for it. Celtic D, I only discovered your channel 2 days ago, or it was yesterday. Nice to meet you and congratulations. Thank you, Celtic. Welcome to the Legion of Muppets. You are welcome. Nice to have you here, Celtic. Who would win between Bond and Bourne? Honestly, I don't know, but my boy Jimmy Bond better win. And then he better say some epic line after he defeats him. The Book of Dark, do you like mice or rats? Which one is cuter? Interesting question. I'd probably go mice. Alec V. Sean Connery for sure. Daniel Craig is very good, though. All have their own feel, which makes each of the movies unique to their own, but love the slightly more darker, serious tones those two bring. So, yeah, Very good point, Alec. Simon Pegg would make a good villain. You know what? I can see it. I can see it. Wouldn't be your... I don't think it would be a normal choice for a Bond villain, but I think he could pull it off. I agree. Counter-Strike 2 is going to be released in the summer? Okay. How's Queen Boomer? No morning sickness, I hope. It comes and goes. Some days she's good, some days she's not so good. If you're wondering who to win between Bond and Powers, there's a rap battle about that. What is it? Epic rap battles of history? I've never seen that one. I've watched a bunch of those, but if there's one between them two, I gotta check it out. Have you ever thought about watching Afterlife? Honestly, one of the funniest, saddest things I've watched. Yeah, I've seen Afterlife. I like watching the outtakes from Afterlife better. But that's one thing about Ricky Gervais's shows that he does. Like they're funny, but there's always like these really sad moments in them. Ricky Gervais is a genius. The Pegger would be a terrible villain name. Yeah, it would. Tim in Thailand. Hey, how you doing? Good evening, Nick. Did you know Clint Eastwood was offered the Bond part, but he turned it down? Really? Thank God he did that. Imagine James Bond going, "Are you feeling lucky? Are you? You feeling lucky, you punk?" I think that would have killed the James Bond franchise. Derek is better. Derek is better than Afterlife? I think I liked Derek a little better, but to try to be objective and say which one's better, I don't know. It's tough. But I did like Derek better. What movie villain would you love to be or have the abilities of? That's a good question, Jamie. The first thought that comes to, like, would you love to have the abilities of, is probably Thanos. Or General Zod, because they can just beat the shit out of everybody. They're, like, the most powerful. But, in terms of, like, which movie villain would you want to play? Like, in a movie, like, let's say you could play any movie villain. I don't know. I'd love to play a Bond villain, man. Bond villains are the so cool to play. Or maybe the Joker. I don't know. Joker seems like it would be fun to play. How do you feel about Brit shows mostly having slow first seasons? Watching your Red Dwarf reactions on Patreon, and it's reminding me how slow those early ones are. Yeah, it seems like, and it's not all British shows, but there's a couple like Red Dwarf and Only Fools and Horses. It seems like they're trying to catch their footing in the first season. Like, they're trying to figure out what they want to do, and then and Peep Show. Even though I like first season of Peep Show, it's like they try to catch their footing, and then once they establish themselves, they're like, "This is okay. Now we know what we're gonna do," and it goes on. It gets better and better. So, you know, Extras is better than all of them. I agree, Barry. I think of all the Ricky Gervais shows that he's done, Extras I think is the best. I really loved Extras. Last Kingdom is better than Vikings. I probably would agree with that if I watched The Last Kingdom, but I never liked. I mean, I thought Vikings was okay when it first came out, but it didn't really do much for me. Are you getting Dr. Evil's hairline? Thank you. I got a widow's peak. Peter Amberley says, hey, King Boomer. Congrats, Daddy Boomer. Thank you so much. Have you ever watched Doctor Who? No. Coaster King says, I can see you as a Bond villain. Really? I would love to play a Bond villain. I think that's like the most fun role you could get on the big screen. Have you seen Life's Too Short with Warwick Davis? Yes. Yeah. I love that. That scene between Johnny Depp and Warwick Davis in his hotel room. It's one of the funniest, like, most wrong things I've ever seen in my life. Handman says, sorry, King. But no, you can make fun of my hairline. I don't care, Handman. It's not baldness. It's just widow's peak.
Imagine the size of the clunge on Thanos' mum.
Thank you, Yuletide. Appreciate the super chat, man. Peter Robinson, we're doing good. How are you, man? So when are you coming to the UK for a few pints down the pub and talk some men crap? You know, I would have loved to do it this year, but since me and Queen Boomer are having a child, it's probably not going to be for quite some time. If we weren't having this baby, I would have been there yesterday, Nick. I would love to check out the UK and Ireland too. Not just Northern Ireland, but the actual Ireland. Yuletide, you were too nice to me today. I'll wait for the robot to read them. But I'm going to hop off soon because I got to get started on my reaction day and get some content out for you guys. The best film Ricky Gervais did was The Invention of Lying. Yeah, I love that too, Totem King. That was really good. I think that was his best movie. Looks like your dog's about to fall off the bed, yeah. Best Clint movie is Josie Wales. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Here it is.
Only Fools was almost cancelled after S1 then got better and better series after series. Consistently voted best Brit sitcom of all time.
And I can see why. Thank you, Latide, for the super chat.
Do you think you are capable of murdering someone tonight?
No, but thank you, Book of Dark. That's a crazy question, but thank you for the super chat, my friend. And Nick Pycroft, thank you for that super chat as well. You can write something underneath the super chat if you want. It'll read it out for you. Peep Show just gets better. Yeah, I agree. Peep Show's getting better and better. I got a couple Peep Show reaction fans that are just nuts. It's kind of like that, kind of like the in-betweeners thing where, I'll drop a couple peep show reactions and then like the next reaction will be something else. They'll be like, where the fuck is peep show? Like, all they want me to react to is peep show.
If you get a chance, check your Insta DMs.
Check out my DMs. My DMs are like out of control. I haven't been looking at them for quite some time because, sometimes I'll respond to a couple and then it would just get. It's just I get so many of them that my Instagram is like unmanageable right now. I haven't opened up my message section in quite some time. Thank you, Yuletide. British TikToks? No, I'm not reacting to TikToks. I hate TikTok. It's like I am not a fan of, that 10-15 second format or whatever the fuck it is. I don't like TikTok. I'll never get one. And it's not because of the whole Chinese. It's run by China thing. It's just I never liked it. It's not for me. I have people send me TikToks all the time, and I never look at them. I've also had been informed that somebody has made a TikTok of my channel, so they have basically a imposter King Boomer TikTok thing going on or something. And as much as I liked that they were like, dude, somebody's impersonating you on TikTok, really what they're doing is just taking short versions of my reactions and putting them on YouTube, on TikTok. And I said, you know what? I'll never have a TikTok, so if they want to do that, go ahead. For the people who are on TikTok, it just means more exposure for this channel. And I've never had a TikTok, so I will never have one. So if they do that and make a couple extra bucks from it, more power to them. Doesn't bother me one bit. Do you play any instruments, King Boomer? I used to play the piano a lot. I was pretty good at playing the piano. I haven't played a piano in a decade, but even if you put one in front of me, I could play, a couple things off the top of my head. I heard Animal House says, I heard you mention your Discord channel became a bit crazy. There were so many different things going on with it, but I could not because I try to keep my Discord, my actual Discord name on there pretty private. Like when I had the Discord channel up, one of the rule sets on there was don't @ me, don't send me a private message, and literally every day it got to the point where I would get 9-10 Discord messages a day, and I would be in the middle doing things, and it would be and I would have people call me on Discord and things. So I just as much as I like that fans want to talk to me, it just got out of control. But also somebody was putting a bunch of porno shit on my Discord, and people were going after each other in the Discord stuff, confrontations, and not nice ones, not banner. So all these things combined, I was just you know what, I should just get rid of it. Because it was becoming unmanageable. Retro says I don't like TikToks, but I love Tic Tacs. I agree. Have you seen any Peaky Blinders? Yeah, I tried. I watched the first season. I know it's got a huge following. I recognize it as a good show. There was something about it I just didn't. It wasn't for me, and I'm shocked that I didn't like it that much. I know it's a good show. It's just not for me. And I'm shocked that I didn't like it because it's right up my alley. It's a gangster show. It takes place in, like the 1920s. It's just every selling point hits me perfectly. But when I watch it, I was just like, I don't know. There's just something about this that I just don't like. So, and I will, maybe I should watch it again. I'll try to give it another shot, but I'm surprised at myself for not liking Peaky Blinders as much as everybody else did. There was a lot of talking in Peaky Blinders, to be fair. That's understandable. No, that wouldn't bother me at all. I actually like television shows especially is where you need to have more dialogue and less action and, spectacle. Television shows where you need to have more dialogue because the dialogue makes the show. It wasn't the dialogue. I don't know, man. I wish I could put my finger on what part of Peaky Blinders I didn't like. But it was something about it where I was like, I'm surprised I don't like this that much. How long do you give a show on your channel before you stop watching it due to not liking it? Usually 3 episodes. That's exactly what happened to Still Game. I did one reaction, which I actually did post for a while. But I barely laughed in it. And then I tried a second one, and then I tried a third one. Those 2 I didn't post. Because it was just me like this. So it's usually 2 or 3 episodes I give before I go, yeah, this ain't for me. Boardwalk Empire. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. Boardwalk Empire is amazing. I like Boardwalk Empire better than Sopranos. You ever seen Deadwood? One of the best shows I have ever seen. That's another, the good point, Handman. That's another show where I tried to get into it, and it's right up my alley. It's the Western history. You got some historical characters in there. And I did not like it that much, and I can't put my finger on why. It's just... It's one of those things. It's the Peaky Blinders and Deadwood are 2 shows, maybe the only 2 shows where I watch them and I go, I don't understand why I don't like this as much as everybody else. And I can't explain why. Elliot Powney says, you're the best James Bond. Boomer, heard you're up next. No. Absolutely not. It would be blasphemy if an American played James Bond. Animal House says, I prefer dialogue to things like Walking Dead. I never liked Walking Dead. Slow Horses spy drama on Apple TV. Gary Oldman is a classic spy master in it. It's a good selling point. I'd be interested in that, but I don't have Apple TV, so. Craig, things are going good, man. How are you? Is Queen Boomer's mom hot? I was like that with Tiger King. Tiger King's a completely different show, though. It's not like like, it might be scripted in some ways, but it's not like a scripted, drama piece. Tiger King was fucking hilarious, man. Did you like him? Did you like it with the big one or the little one? Well, if you liked it with the big one, you ain't that straight. Walking Dead so overstayed its welcome. I never liked Walking Dead to begin with. Do you like making Father Ted reaction videos? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dexter and Breaking Bad. I think Dexter is pretty good. Breaking Bad, I think Breaking Bad's good. There's a lot of people that worship Breaking Bad, and I'm not one of those, but I do think it's good. Have you gone down the Succession rabbit hole? No, I have not. No, that's one of the shows that I never watched. Of the HBO shows, that's one that I haven't checked out, though. You know what? Because I'm not a big fan of the whole zombie genre thing, but I checked out Last of Us, which I think it's an amazing show. I think it's the best zombie-type apocalypse thing that's ever been made. I just don't... I think it's fantastic. One of the most amazing television shows made in the last few years. I hate how fucking sad it is. It like rips your heart out of your chest every episode, and you gotta give me like a happy episode every once in a while, and it doesn't do that. So that's why I stopped watching it. It's like I don't want to feel like I just walked out of Auschwitz every episode. Otherwise, I would be glued to watching it nonstop. Josh Miles says, this might be a bit of an ask, but out of every show you've reacted to, what are your top 5 characters? Man, you're really putting me on the spot, Josh. Jay from The Inbetweeners. Dougal from Father Ted. Definitely. I mean, those are the top 2. I fucking love Dougal. Dougal, as soon as I see Dougal, he puts a smile on my face. Probably Mr. Gilbert. I love Mr. Gilbert. And Hitler from Bottom. Probably number 4. I really like him. He's so funny. Of course, I tried to put up Bottom reactions on YouTube, but I can't. They're on Patreon. And then 5, I'm probably going to have to go with... I don't know, man. What's the guy from Peep Show, the black dude, the really suave manager type guy who runs the office? I really like that guy too. Would you rather watch the most boring movie in the world or the most depressing television series show ever? Probably boring. If it's all just depressing, I don't know. Father Jack. I was thinking about throwing Father Jack in there. And honorable mention with Marie UK. She got it down. Craig David, the character, not the man. So, we'll put those in honorable mention category. Animal House, Greg Davies is brilliant on Taskmaster. Definitely worth a reaction further down the line. I will not be posting any Taskmaster reactions on YouTube. I don't think I've done one, but Daniel and Spencer from Embrace the Suck 21 have had just nightmarish issues trying to get their Taskmaster reactions up, and I don't think they've gotten one up, and they've tried for like over a year. So just because of that alone, I'm probably not even going to try that, because I'd just be, if it's not allowed on YouTube, I'd just be wasting my time. Schindler's List has some good laughs. You're a maniac. You seen Bottom series yet? Yes. I've been reacting to that on Patreon. I tried to put them up on YouTube, but it was blocked constantly. So, Bottom reactions are Patreon exclusive right now. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up and start getting on with my day and night, so I can get some more reactions out for you guys. Thank you for everybody who hung out. It's a pleasure talking to you guys. And thank you for everybody who donated some super chats. It's always nice to see that. You guys are too kind. And I hope you all have a great weekend. So, yeah, it looks like Jane's waking up anyway, so I gotta go. But thank you, everybody. Y'all have a lovely day. And tell somebody you love them today, okay? I'm sure you know somebody out there who needs a hug. So, give them a hug and tell them you love them. All right. Thanks, everybody. It was great talking to you again. Peace out. Have a good night and drink a